Good morning, Sports Insanity Network fans. It's Mark Oldup, Sky Halpern here for the Insanity Network. If you're here to learn about secret affairs that happen at CoPlay, this is not what we're talking about here. We're only here to talk about sports. You don't have to worry about being on the Kiss Cam here because there's only three of us. So, that being said, we had the All-Star game just come by. The Mets retired David Wright. The Yankees looking okay. But we're now ready to start the second half of baseball. And the way to get that started is we hand it over to our master in charge, Mike, the punt master Rifkin. Mike, what do we got on tap for baseball today?
Well, we're going to start with the All Star game because let's be honest, we saw a couple of things during the All Star game that are new to Major League Baseball. And I think both things are could be exciting if Major League Baseball implemented them. The first one being we got balls and strikes challenges, which they've been working on in the minor leagues. And according to the broadcast, the only people who could challenge a ball or a strike are the pitcher, the catcher, or the hitter. I believe there was two challenges per team. If you're right, like football, you get to keep it. So, and by the way, it was a pretty quick process when they challenged it. So, Dan, I'll start with you. What do you think about Major League Baseball potentially implementing that ball strike challenge system?
Um, and we had this discussion as well on Sports Sanity podcast Mondays and Fridays, usually. Um, we had the discussion last week. I think they're going to implement it. It's a matter of when, not if.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was told sometime next year that they're going to do it. Um, if not next year, definitely 2027. That they will have the automatic balls and strikes. You could obviously challenge it. I love it. I think it's great. It's great for baseball. Look, now of course they have a lot of things to work on with these challenge systems, like challenging every call.
Right.
I think every call should be challenged. Um, so they have a lot to work on with that. This is a step in the right direction for baseball. I think what is it? One challenge, if you lose, it's gone. If you win, you keep it.
You
I
keep it
think there
like
should
in
be,
football.
yeah, I think there should be two challenges. And I think that every single, whether it's every single batter, whether it's every single catcher, every single pitcher, should have the opportunity to challenge at least once. And then you have one team challenge for the ABS, as well as two challenges for every other thing that happens on the field. And I think you should have access to that for the first 7 innings. And then eighth inning on, I think if you still have your ABS challenges, you could, challenge. Anything else would be an umpire call. That's how I would approach it. And everything should be challenged because we have to get the calls right. We have the technology to do it. There should be no reason why we can't be able to do all that. Even the judgment calls from the umpires. Umpires are wrong a lot.
You're telling me.
Yeah,
I
but
call.
yeah,
I'm not going to digress, but
yeah,
something
yeah,
that may or may not have been a swing yesterday.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's your boy, Edwin Diaz. Your boy did it. He's the one
He
that
did.
got the
He
challenge.
he did. I was. He got it right, so I can't even get mad at him.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's great. It's great for baseball, especially since they do like they do in tennis, right? They
yeah, it's the same with
perfect.
the in out in tennis,
Yeah.
or even VAR in soccer,
Yeah.
which I know people hate, but yeah, digress. Mark,
21st century. Gotta get with the times.
You got it. Mark, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think Dan, covered it all. I agree with him on the fact that it's needed. I agree with you on the fact that it's needed. The only thing I see being a problem is that we've instituted the pitch clock to make games shorter. This is going to throw time, meaning I'm not talking hours here. You're going to add time back to a ball game. So I agree, it's got to just be worked out where it doesn't affect that somehow. Rules, amount of challenges and stuff, they have time to get it right. And after watching how successful it was in the All-Star game, I think they're on the right track in making the games more competitive.
But even if you go back to the All-Star, it wasn't like these took forever. They took
No,
5, 10 seconds the most. So you're not adding that much time. Just depends on how many challenges you're going to give each team.
that's the question.
Right. Like there was a part of me that was like, well, you could also do one guy throughout the lineup gets it. 1 through 9, they get one. And if they're wrong, it's done. They're right there.
That's probably a better way to approach it.
You know,
That's interesting.
you know, I thought that would be an interesting way. I don't mind the 2 because it'd be really interesting to see how they utilize it with the 2. But yeah, Dan was right when he said all we want is for the calls to be right. We don't need the strike zone to be all over the place. Shout out my guy Angel Hernandez. But we what we want is just consistency and the little miniature box that they throw up on the screen. We want you to get it right. And if that's the real strike zone, you have to call it within there. And now the umpires are going to know, hey, this system's coming. I got to be on my A game today.
Yeah. And it's not taking away the human element of the umpire.
No.
They'll still have it, and they're still gonna blow calls, and they're still gonna get the dirt kicked at them whenever bases will be thrown, like every time Lou Piniella did it.
Yeah.
You're still gonna have that element, but to a lesser extent, because now you're focusing on accuracy and not judgment and potentially, costing games.
Yeah. Absolutely. The other thing that happened during the All-Star game, besides the National League pulling the New York Mets and imploding, blowing a 6-run lead, we got the first ever swing off.
Yeah.
Which was 3 players chosen by both teams get 3 swings, and the most homers in that scenario wins. Nationally wound up winning. Kyle Schwarber went 3 for 3 with 3 homers. Wound up being the All-Star Game MVP. Do I agree with that? No. My question to you guys is, would you prefer the swing off to the ghost runner at second base to deciding a game?
I hate the Ghost Runner. I really do. If you're gonna keep the Ghost Runner, for first thing first, if the Ghost Runner stays, which it certainly will, put it at first, not at second. Like that's dumb. First base, and then bring the runner home traditional way. With that said, I think the swing off should come into the regular season. They don't have to do batting practice swings. We're not asking for that. Slower pitches for sure, but you don't have to do it from the batting practice stance. You can go from to the mound, and you can have the opposing pitcher pitch at you. You
Yeah.
know, Like there's ways that you could do it, that doesn't necessarily, um, it doesn't necessarily make it unfair. Um, I think the swing off, they should at least test it in the minors first. You have to go through some extensive testing, you know, put it in the minors, single A, double A, whatever you want, and test it out, see if it works for a game. I think it'd be much quicker than extra innings because some of these games, even with the Ghost Runner, they go like 15 innings, which is just
Yeah.
insane. So I would see what a swing off would look like in the regular season. Um, I'm very curious. It was a very entertaining night. By the way, Boone had the worst lineup possible.
I couldn't figure that out. Why wasn't any of the prolific home run
Yeah,
derby or bigger home run guys doing it?
yeah. It's absurd. Like even the National League had Pete Alonso as its anchor. Like shit, man. Oh, okay.
Well, I think Dan said it right. I hate the Ghost Runner myself, but if you're gonna have to have it, put it at first. Because let's make it simple. A simple line drive single through the ground, whatever is gonna score a run, and both teams are capable of doing that, keeping games going. Make it more interesting, start them at first. I think Dan hit it right there. As for the swing off, I happen to enjoy it greatly. What the hell the Yankees are doing keeping Aaron Boone on after watching that display of this is who's going to win it for us. I kind of laughed. And even like Dan said, even if Schwarber didn't it, you had Pete Alonso as the anchor. He was pretty much guaranteed to hit one.
Yeah,
Having it done in the regular season is an interesting idea. I think there's a lot more bugs to work that out
yeah.
than would be the ABS and stuff like that. But it's not something that wouldn't be unfairly done because each team usually has one player who's their leader in home runs, rightfully so. Just how you would do it with pitching wise, we would have to see and listen to a bunch of different rules and ideas before we can make a conclusive answer. Mike.
Well, I think Dan also hit where we can't have it be batting practice. Like that can't be part of it. So it has, in my opinion, a real pitcher has to be out there throwing.
Yeah. And by bang, I don't necessarily mean, hey, they have to throw 95 mile an hour. No, you could throw slow, but
Yeah, you can throw a breaking ball if you
like
want.
I don't care. You can be to Tim Wakefield for all I care. But my point is that,
Knuckleball.
to me, like it can't be that BS home run derby crap where you're gonna hit like 20, or you're guaranteed to hit like 10 home runs. You know, make
Three
it
pitches. I think
somewhat,
they should go by like they did in the swing off. Three pitches.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't meaning to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Yeah, and yeah, three swings, perfect. You know,
You gotta get into the groove. So let's see what happens if baseball implements either. But it was a very entertaining All-Star game.
Yes,
Uh,
it should have been a polar bear MVP, but
Listen, I don't disagree with you. What he did was actually in the game, unlike Kyle Schwarber, which, got batting practice.
mm.
Shout out Kyle Schwarber. You're doing wonders for my fantasy team. The other thing I found interesting was not how many players they mic'd up, but them miking up pitchers and catchers to get them in sync too.
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. And Clayton Kershaw yelling at John Smoltz, "I don't throw a cutter, Smoltzy."
Hats off to Kershaw again. We'll
Yeah,
miss you in
I
the
I
big
gotta think
leagues.
with him being taken out early in that game, like this is the last.
This is it for him.
This is it for him.
Definite Hall of Famer, no question.
100%. And by the way, shout out the fans of Atlanta for giving Freddie Freeman the ovation
Yes,
he deserved as
agreed.
well. So, all right. So that was the All Star game Tuesday. Next year's All Star game, I believe, is in Philly.
Yeah.
That was a great reaction. Ugh. All right. So yesterday, Mark, you and I did a little special before the Met game. I just want to go in review of what you thought of the David Wright retirement ceremony before we move on.
The fact that God cried as he was walking off the field and was the end of the captain was nice. That nice rainstorm. I think what David had to say was good. He was very direct, thanking everybody, as humble as he is too. And the only thing I was shocked at, there was no car, no motorcycle, not even a helicopter for him to take off in. There was no big substantial gift. I like the picture with all the images of all the players inside the number. And I know there's rumor that he will become the hitting coach in AAA next year. So, we will miss David. He was a very intricate part of the Mets for, oh my God, as long as I can remember. And the autographed jersey will remain in place forever. We'll never sell it. But I think the ceremony was good. I just saw it was like just a surprise. There was a lack of gift. That's all.
Mhm.
From somebody who's worth $22 billion.
Uh,
Uh,
good for Wright. Good for David Wright. He's a great human being, all-time Met, and look, very rare that you see someone spend a whole entire career with the Mets, given their history of trading people wanting out and everything, like, or starting their careers elsewhere. So it's rare that you get to see um people who have only been Mets, and David Wright is the ultimate Met. Um, I wish he had a ring though. Let's be real. You know?
I will always maintain the fact that they win in 06 if a certain center fielder gets the bat off his shoulders in game 7. But I'll digress on that as well.
Oh,
You guys were beating the Tigers.
But
Like,
you know what?
Oh yeah.
The moment he had in 15 when he hit the home run against Kansas City, I mean, City Field was rocking that night.
yeah.
I was there with Michelle opening day at City Field, Lower Mez, and I could actually tell you because I was there, as I just said, that when David Wright hit the first Mets home run of that game, you could feel that stadium vibrating and shaking. How loud the people were. David Wright was a Met and
Yep.
always will be.
The other thing I found pretty, I want to say funny, ironic, was when he brought up the Wilpons. And it was the only time the fans booed was the fact that he brought up the Wilpons.
I was surprised he even mentioned them.
Well, you got to think they drafted him. They always negotiated his contract. So,
And they committed to, I mean, look, and it's not like at the time when he got his big time deal, became the captain. The Mets were still in pretty much hot water
yeah.
from all the Bernie Madoff bullshit.
Yeah.
So you got to think, look, he played his entire career with the Wilpons as the owners.
Yeah.
You have to think that you got to thank the ownership from the time there, and then of course appreciate the ownership that's there now, and I think he does.
He does.
They're the ones that retired his number.
Yeah, he mentioned Steve and Alex Cohen multiple times. So that was a fantastic speech. Great set. I
Yes.
love the little thing they did coming out the third base tunnel and standing on third base. I thought
Yes.
that was
The
a
last time he would take the base.
little thing that I just loved. But and shout out to you, David Wright. All right, so we are T minus 11 days away. Trade deadline. So let's just talk a little bit about it since we got it going here. And Dan, I'll start with you. What are some things you're looking for the Yankees to do here come as we approach the deadline?
Third base, definitely.
Third base.
Third base. We need third baseman. Now that DJ LeMahieu is no longer a problem and you're putting Jazz Chisholm back at second, we have to find a way to not play Peraza every day because he sucks. Look, he's great as a backup, but he's terrible as a starter. So if you can get a third baseman, I mentioned in our Bombers banter, Jose Ramirez. I don't know if Cleveland's going to want to put him up there, but if they do, I would definitely take a whack at that. And many others. So I would definitely go for a third baseman. I think Bill mentioned Gino Suarez too from Arizona if they're willing to shop him. I don't think they are going to shop him. I think they're going to stand pat. As crazy as that might sound given their record, I just think that this was a wasted year because of their injuries. And I just don't think it's fair to blow up a team that you just built together the offseason. So I have a feeling that they're not going to do that. I'll be very shocked if they do. But if they put Gino Suarez up for that, yes, can bring him to the Bronx. He killed the Yankees in the Bronx.
The question also becomes, Dan, is what do the Yankees have left to trade after
Right.
making that huge swap with for Soto?
Well, they have prospects in the minors. Just nothing. No, I don't know if it's anything enticing, but they could try. I mean, it doesn't even hurt to ask, you know?
Yep. No, I'm just asking for
Yeah,
Well, Spencer
sake.
Jones, I know, is a top outfield prospect.
yeah,
And I know Lombard Jr. is another one.
Lombard, who I would presume might be an untouchable for them. I don't know,
yeah,
unless they're swinging big.
yeah. Well, one thing I know about Cashman, he is very protective of his top assets. You know, I mean,
I also think the Yankees could use another starting pitcher.
well, they need to. I was literally gonna say that next. Starting pitching.
Here's the other thing, and you could get into this as well. I have no idea how you could go into the All Star break and then come out of the All Star break, and your first idea is to throw a bull. Essentially, you're throwing 3 bullpen games in this series against the Braves.
They started with Ian Hamilton. And look, he's okay, mediocre at best. Ian Hamilton, why is he starting the games? Like, I don't understand that. And again, this falls on Cashman because, you know, yes, you had the starting depth, but the starting depth was injury prone. We have a bunch of starters that are, on the shelf right now, battling injuries. So right now, you're 1-2, even the 1-2 punch of Fried and Rodon. It's only Rodon that's been, fairly healthy all season. Now we're worried about Mad Max. We don't know if
Yeah.
like, fuck, man. Excuse me. But yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough to watch with the Yankees sometimes. I would like to get another pitcher, another starting pitcher, maybe two if we can. You know, just so that we're not throwing these idiots um out there. At first, I was thinking maybe one because we have that Schlittler, but now I'm thinking two, just to be on the safer side. Experience.
Right.
We brought up Seth Lugo. He loved New York.
Hmm.
He's a baller. He's now become a good starting pitcher. So it's not a terrible idea to bring him on.
And he's not going to cost you that much in terms of the prospect value
Right.
coming back.
Yeah. And the Royals could use another big time prospect. I mean, like, I don't know, like Seth Lugo's not getting any younger. So put him on a contending team.
Yeah. And he's not going to go in and be your one. All of a sudden, he fits in that 3 slot behind Rodon and Freed.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So you want at least one starting pitcher, maybe two, and a third baseman.
Yeah.
All right, Mark.
Well, as
Get
we
into it.
as we just got back, Sean Manaea, whose 2 outings so far have been fantastic. He didn't get wins in either one, but he's definitely shown that he is what he was last year. So I'm
The
happy to
real
get
tribal
that.
chief again.
Which
Kodai Senga returns this week.
Yes.
Another big return for the Mets. It's still not enough. Between Peterson, Senga, and Manaea, yeah, they're a good 3 when they're healthy. Peterson's been playing very well all year long. The Mets need, like Dan said for the Yankees, they need 2 starting pitchers. And yes, one of my targets is Seth Lugo, as he was a Met, and giving him, mind you, letting him walk away probably left a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth. But with Steve Cohen possibly throw a lot of money at his way, he would fit right in the Mets rotation very well, whether you move Peterson down to the 4th or he pitches behind Peterson. I don't think it matters. Frankie Montas was a mistake, and I'll go back to that last year. He does not deserve to be on the Mets starting rotation, but right now we don't have that luxury of anybody else to be there, really. So it's just what it is. As for the field itself, the Mets have a lot of young prospects up, and their hitting is not the issue. The Mets are hitting. It's their defense at third base, which Mike and I have talked about plenty, and I know we've also brought it up here on weeks past as we've been leading up into this episode. The question becomes who's available? Who do we want at third? We've seen Brett Beatty really excel at second base. So with McNeil helping him. So that puts Vientos and Mauricio at third. Mauricio's the better defender. Mauricio's hitting better, but Vientos still makes a case for what he did last year, and he can't take away that from him. Go ahead.
The break Vientos has right now is that both Jesse Winker and Starling Marte aren't healthy. So the DH slot is open. So
Right, and he'll get a chance to
he's
swing
going
every
to get a
day,
lot of
which
opportunity there.
if the Mets are going to make a big move for a pitcher, it's going to take a lot of pieces to do it. And the team Mike and I have been talking about for the last week is the Arizona Diamondbacks, with the fact that they are sitting, I think it's 6 games out of the wild card currently, 6 or 7. If they fall another 2 games to try to make it there, it's not going to happen with that team. If they were closer, I would say they stand pat. But I would be reaching out to see what Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly would be worth. Would they be interested in bringing them to New York?
Arizona's 4.5 back of that.
Oh, sorry. All right. So they're 4.5 out, which is close in all means. But look at the teams that are in front of them.
Yeah. It's a tough National League.
Yes. So if Arizona's thinking, we're never going to catch any of the other 2,
Yeah.
and the offer for Zach Gallen is high, meaning, let's say it contains Drew Gilbert, which I'd be very sad to see him go, but takes Drew Gilbert in a couple of small pieces and you give them Megill so they have a pitcher. There you go.
So just to round that out, Arizona will play the Cardinals today, final game of the series. Then their last three series of the month of July leading up to the deadline. The Astros, the Pirates, and the Tigers.
They should win 1 out of 3 of those. They should win the one against the Pirates, but the way Houston and Detroit is playing, they're going to make it very hard.
Yeah. So,
and look, I don't know about necessarily blowing it, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Hey, look, well, what are you thinking? You know, Zach Gallen would be perfect for anyone's rotation.
Zach Gallen. Listen, when I floated that out there, that's the dream for me. Like that's the guy. True definition of a rental, and if he likes it enough, you could bring him back.
Yeah, and I don't think he's that expensive either.
No, he shouldn't.
If he ever hits free agency, he's not a number one pitcher in the major leagues.
No, he'll definitely if the Mets get it, he becomes the third pitcher in the rotation without question.
Yeah, so that would be a guy. I'd still call the Marlins on Sandy Alcantara just to see what the price is. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Ooh." I'll tell you the other team that interests me, and people are gonna laugh. The Rockies, Herman Marte,
Kyle Freeland.
and Kyle Freeland. Those are two dudes I would absolutely call to see what the Rockies are intrigued by if those guys are available. So the Mets need a starter. I think the Mets need two arms of the bullpen. One has to be a lefty. You know, maybe it's Gregory Soto in Baltimore or someone.
Well, we did just get Brooks Raley back, so.
Well, right, you would pair this guy with Brooks Raley.
Right.
I've always felt you need two lefties in the pen, and with AJ Minter down,
yeah,
you know they don't have it. And look, they need a center fielder. Jeff McNeil could play there, and he's played well there. It's not an everyday center fielder.
Yeah.
Tyrone Taylor has played wonderfully defensively and hit. So they need a center fielder too and figure that out. Maybe that's Cedric Mullins. Maybe that's someone else. But the Mets have some holes. And David Stearns, you know, I think he's under a little bit more pressure this year than he was a year ago.
Personally, Mike and I both know the true dream would be Jacob deGrom being pulled out of Texas and back into New York. That's the true dream.
He don't want to come back, though.
I know he wouldn't want to come back. I'm allowed to have my dreams, though, Dan.
Exactly.
And they're 2.5 out. They're not gonna.
Yeah. If you're looking into the American League, though, look at the Twins, Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
What do you think about him?
All-star.
It was floated last night. I was watching Cubs Red Sox. They floated Joe Ryan last night.
Really?
His name, possibly to Boston. And I was just like, that's actually not a bad name. His ERA is up there, and
he's had a really good couple of years. Let me get his full numbers up.
I think it's 9-3 or something. He's like a 2.70 ERA. You know?
The other name I've heard from Minnesota, a lot of people
Griffin Jacks
is the closer Durant, who throws
Griffin Jacks also now.
Like
that's a good name, Mark, and I love a closer better than Devin Williams. I'll tell you that.
The Minnesota Twins have a lot of assets and that are worth a lot to a lot of teams. It's just going to be questioned is what are they going to want in return?
That's
9-4, Dan, with a 2.72.
Okay,
that's awesome. That's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, it's actually a great point, Opsy, because if they have so many assets, you don't necessarily want to get rid of them, especially if they're up in the league right now. The problem is they're under 500. And their AL race is already as tight as it is.
They're 5 out in the wild card.
Who's ahead of them?
All right, the Yankees own the first one.
Mhm.
Seattle owns the second. The Red Sox the third, and then it's the Rays, Rangers, Angels, Guardians, and then the Twins,
There's a
and then the
lot.
Royals.
Okay, not that I would tell any team to pack it in because they're not going to do it. If the teams ahead of them were not stronger than them, I would say try to wait it out, see if you can make the playoffs. I think Minnesota, when you just put it leaning and listening to where they are, I think they're in a prime position to pick up a lot of youth and they can move off of a lot of expensive contracts.
Yeah.
They have a prime opportunity to upgrade here, but if they think they're going to be able to get that third spot, because let's face it, the Yankees have the one. Nobody's going to beat out the Yankees.
Nobody should be the Yankees.
Nobody should be. Sorry, that's the proper way to say
I mean,
it.
Seattle's
Nobody
only a
should.
game behind them.
Right. And then Seattle. 1 and 2 in my mind are there. It's the fight for the third spot. And if Minnesota has to try to go through all of that, I don't think it's possible.
And the other thing is this. The other reason why you sell, you've just lost 2 straight to the Colorado Rockies.
That too is another.
That's not a
good reason.
good sign if you're the Twins.
Plus, you can pick up whether it's you can pick up players to get yourself ready for next year and revamp that starting pitching, the order. That's what teams have to start considering now. Are we going to make the playoffs? It's not, let's see how we can advance ourselves for next year. That's the question.
I think there's a couple of teams in that same kind of conversation as Minnesota. You know, Arizona's one of them. We talked about them before. I mean, the Cardinals are 3 games over and they're 2.5 out. What are they going to consider doing? Because remember, they were a team over the winter. We were talking about they wanted to trade Nolan Arenado.
Right. And they still can, but
bad.
if you're that close, if you're that close to grabbing that ring, that gold ring to get into the playoffs, you're not going to bite off your nose to spite your face.
I might call Twin and pick his brains about the Cards. I want to know if they want to sell.
Yeah.
Because they're in prime position for a playoff spot.
They are in a prime position.
So, but it's interesting because do they care about winning right now?
Right. They got to figure that out. There's the Marlins are only 6.5 out.
Yeah.
They're going to sell and they're not going to make it, but hey, the Marlins are showing some fight. Braves 9.5.
And that's the scary part. What Mike just said. The Braves are only 9.5. That's a team that I never count out until the season's over.
Yeah.
They are the scariest team. So 9.5 out doesn't frighten me for the Braves.
They're 11 under.
Yeah.
That we would have never predicted, though.
It's stunning what's going on in Atlanta. By the way, the fact that they blew a lead against the Yankees last night must have been tough for them. I mean,
that's been the story of their season.
It has been, yes.
By the way, how about that throw from Acuna on Friday night?
That was unbelievable. The third.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Michael Penix won't throw a better pass than that this season.
And he didn't even set to throw. He just got up and gunned it.
Yeah. I mean, they used to show it with the A's all the time, the distance between third and first base and what it looks like on that gridiron. So they got fucking cannons, these baseball players. Man.
Oh.
The best one ever, though, to me, was Vladimir Guerrero on that throw from the corner of the pole. And it right on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Ichiro had an arm too.
We had top 5 on SIP. The best plays. I had Bo Jackson from the near wall.
Yeah,
wall. And he gunned the player.
Bo Jackson. I mean, Yoenis Cespedes when he was whether that was Oakland or that was Boston.
Oakland.
It was Oakland. Okay, when he bobbled it, then picked it up and threw it home on a
I,
strike.
I loved Oakland's version of Cespedes.
Oakland Cespedes was a different animal.
Oh my god.
So much.
Oakland Cespedes was awesome. Oh, yeah. So trade deadline, 11 days away. We'll see what if action starts picking up over the next couple of days or so. All right, and then short one today because we got mainly because of the All-Star game, but we got some series for the week to talk about for next week. Dan, I'll start with you because your Yanks go to Toronto for the first time since the Blue Jays swept them in 4.
Look, I was not. I was kind of confident that they would get at least 2 the last time. I'm not confident that they're going to come out of that series with any wins. Blue Jays, and look, they haven't been. They're not great of late, but they've been playing good baseball within the last month and a half. So it's a tough series for them. And the Yankees, they had a rough June and okay early July before the All-Star. I'm glad that they were able to somewhat salvage their July. Obviously, with that sweep of the Mariners, they got one from the Cubs, and now they have the chance to win the series in Atlanta today. So I'm not confident though. I think the Blue Jays are better. And they got high at the right time. We talked about, hey, look, the Blue Jays, they gotta eventually come out of the shell, right? And now they have.
Yeah. George Springer's been
I think we lost Mike.
Up. Did we lose Mike there for a second? George Springer in Toronto has been doing very
red
well.
hot. And they've really done this without Vladdy getting going yet this year.
Yes.
I think we just got Mike back. We got a little cut up there. No problem.
Yeah. You mentioned Vladdy. You mentioned Springer.
Yeah.
The pitching too has
Oh,
been
yeah.
stellar.
Gosman, Barrios. Their bullpen's been really good for the most part.
Yeah.
Toronto's going to give the Yankees a good run. I think the Yankee lineup is competitive enough. I just don't think they have the pitching to go up against Toronto. And unless it becomes a swing off during one game, I see Toronto taking 2 or 3.
But here's the thing the Yankees better hope. Because they started this second half out with the Hamilton, Will Warren, Stroman rotation against the Braves. They better hope Rodon has a gem against Toronto, and then Max Fried could go and not have this blister issue.
Yeah.
So you got that going this week. The Red Sox will go to Philly to play the Phillies.
The big series for both sides.
It's a huge series for Boston as they look to avoid to get swept today by the Cubbies.
Yeah, I mean, I think Boston needs to play their best on this one to keep pace with what's going on in the AL East, and also to make us happy to knock the Phillies down 3 games.
It's true. The Phillies will play their rubber game with the Angels today. Then the Angels will go to Citi Field, play the Mets.
Oh, I'm not too concerned about the Angels, and Mike Trout always does well against the Mets.
Yeah, but if it's Angels in the outfield, we gotta worry a little bit. You got the Padres going to Miami to play the Marlins. I just wanted to say that because the Marlins are again 6.5 out, and one of the teams they're trailing are the San Diego Padres.
And we're going to get to see what the Padres look like in the second half, as they were kind of up and down towards the end of the first half, whether it was injury-wise or just exhaustion.
They're another team that needs another starter with Michael King down and Joe Musgrove down, and Dylan Cease hasn't had a great year. So you got that. Cubs Royals should be a fun one with 2 young, exciting teams. Astros Diamondbacks is an interesting one. And then Brewers Mariners. The Brewers today, with a win over the Dodgers, would have a season sweep of the Dodgers. Think about how nuts that is. The Mariners are looking for a sweep of the Astros today. So we got some fun stuff coming up this week.
Definitely glad we're now into the second half. This is where baseball makes its turn from just keeping pace to now it becomes a gallop. So we should see a lot of more excitement in the second half than we did the first.
Second half, trade deadline,
And-
pennant races.
Could Aaron Judge hit 70 home runs? It's a possibility. Could Ellie De La Cruz steal 100 bags? It's a possibility. These are two players I would watch for breaking all-time records.
Oh man, the dog days are coming, people. All right, that'll do for this edition of the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Mark, you got anything on the Dugout?
The dugout's on vacation this week, so not much
Dugout's
going on.
vacation. All right. So you check us out wherever you get your podcasts or live here on the SIN YouTube channel. Go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, vlogs, planes, streets, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials, Twitter, Insanity Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. For Danny Boy, for the old ops guy, I am Mike Rifkin. We'll talk to you all again next week on the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Have a good week, everybody.